Graduates of 2020, I think we can all admit that this year has been anything but ordinary. And so rather than doing an ordinary commencement speech in my cap and gown, I decided to do something fairly unique. I am asking you to imagine that we are sitting across the table from each other at Starbucks having a good talk about life. I have spent the majority of my life with stories, either telling stories or teaching stories. And I want to tell you a little bit of what I've learned about stories. You see, most of the stories that I truly love are the stories of just ordinary men and women who have done something fairly heroic. Whether it's Beowulf fighting the monster Grendel or Atticus Finch, who fought against the prejudices of the South, or maybe the tiny little boy who was insecure and had been told he could do nothing, who instead goes into the woods and kills the Jabberwocky. The thing that all those stories have in common is that all of those can be found in volumes, in leather-bound books on the shelves of famous libraries. And yet, I want you to hear something that you may have never heard before in your life, and that is that you have a story that belongs up there with those stories. Your life is a story that is just as heroic and just as awe-inspiring as the stories of Beowulf. You have a story. You are a story. And so I know this because I can believe that in Once Upon a Time, when you were just a little tyke riding your tricycle around, you had some pretty big dreams about what your life was going to look like. And I'm pretty sure, because I'm also a human, that life hasn't turned out quite like you imagined. Somewhere along the way, you fought some monsters, whether they were bullies in school or life situations. You've crawled out of pits of despair and discouragement. You have climbed mountains. And I know you have because you have graduated. You have received that diploma or certificate in hand showing that you have achieved a major task. So your story is just as important. I know some of your stories. I've heard them. Some of you have fought against poverty and hunger and homelessness. Some of you have striven very hard to fight against the cycle of abuse and to break it. Some of you are parents and grandparents, and you fought against those dragons of doubt and concern that perhaps you were too old or had been out of school too long. Some of you have balanced full-time jobs and college work and family responsibilities. And some of you even went to college at a young age, deciding that somehow balancing college classes, you could do that with a job, perhaps UIL events, and teenage hormones. Regardless of your story, I know you have a story. You have fought those monsters, and you are here. So I challenge you today to take hold of that story and to own it. Make it yours. And as we have learned from modern day heroes, that story is not just yours. We need to share it. So before I tell you a little bit about how to share it, I want to thank the Board of Trustees and the administration and the Barnhart family for the privilege of this award, but also for supporting quality education. And I want to thank the faculty and staff who have been beside me every step of the way, cheering me on when days got hard. And just as importantly, students, I want to thank you. Your stories of grit and resilience and determination, they've inspired me. They've kept me going. And so we have some modern heroes. Let's think of Katniss Everdeen or Harry Potter, Peter Parker. They had a story that they didn't just keep to themselves, they actually shared with others. I know that you've succeeded. You've got that diploma or certificate, but there's someone right beside you running this same race of life who needs a little encouragement, who feels like maybe they aren't adequate, they are not up to the task, and they're close to giving up. So my challenge to you today is to be a modern day hero. I want you to uncover all the layers of pretending to be something else and realize that deep down inside, you are a superhero. You have a story that needs to be told, that needs to be shared with someone beside you who is struggling. So I challenge you to own your story and to tell it. Congratulations, graduates of 2020. I'm so proud of you, and I look forward to hearing how your stories are going to change the world.